Welcome back to the College Basketball Bracket Science Podcast. I'm Brandon Jadich. I'm your host today, and we're officially one day away from Selection Sunday. It feels like Christmas Eve. Very exciting stuff going on. So today for you, we're going to have a quickie podcast. We're not going to talk about every single game that went on. There's just too much stuff that happened. We are going to talk about some of the tickets that were already punched, and then some of the bubble teams that already popped their bubbles, or some of the teams that played themselves into the tournament. As of right now, we've also seen a trend of a lot of the one seeds, whether it's power conferences or low conferences. The one seeds in the conference tournament are continuing to lose. So that's going to be interesting to see what the seeding looks like come Selection Sunday tomorrow, because a lot of the favorites are not going to be in there. So bracketology, all sorts of screwed up. We've also been seeing a lot of coaches get fired as the seasons end. The coaches are getting fired. And then, of course, we're going to talk about some of the championship games to watch. That's going to be the highlight of our show today. We're going to talk about some of the games on Saturday and on Sunday. There's not that many. It's almost the end. It's almost March Madness. We're almost there. Before we get started, I would really appreciate if you went down, smash the subscribe button, keep this thing growing. Give us a like. Let us know you're here. Comment your feelings. Let us know what you're thinking for March Madness. We love interacting. Also, subscribe to us, whether it's on audio, Apple or Spotify. It's easy. Just click the little follow button and give the notifications a little tap there so that you're notified, so you're always caught up on your college basketball content. That's what we're trying to do here. We really appreciate it. Let's get started. Let's start with some of the tickets punched. Bear in mind, quickie pod, probably only going to be less than 30 minutes. So let's get into it. Let's start in the Sun Belt, where James Madison punched a ticket by beating Arkansas State. Now, bear in mind, Appalachian State did get beat by Arkansas State. So it was James Madison who was the heavy favorite in this game, and they took down Arkansas State. They ended up 31-3. Incredible season for James Madison. Keep them on probably the 11 or 12 line as of right now. Moving on to the Southern Conference, the SoCon, Samford got an automatic qualifying bid by beating ETSU their final record 29-5. Probably a 13 seed right now is what I'm expecting. Buckyball. Good for Samford. Into the NEC, Wagner is an automatic qualifier by beating Merrimack. Wagner ended the season 16-15, believe it or not, but they will still be in March. They'll be a 16 seed, probably a play-in game. In the Horizon, Oakland beat Milwaukee to clinch a bid. They ended the season 23-11. Expect them to be on the 14-15 line, probably 14 as of right now. And then Charleston, out of the CAA, also clinched a bid. They beat Stony Brook. They finished the year 27-7 after a shaky start, may I say. Good stuff for Charleston. They'll probably be a 13 or 14 seed. The WCC, St. Mary's took down Gonzaga. As we always see every year, St. Mary's versus Gonzaga in the WCC championship. St. Mary's won the game. They finished the season 26-7. They will be on the 6 or 7 line. Gonzaga probably on the 7 or 8 line. In the Summit, South Dakota State beat Denver. They're 22-12 to finish the year. They'll probably be a 15 seed is what I'm expecting. Maybe squeeze into the 14 seed, but probably 15 seed. In the Southland, it was McNeese. McNeese beat Nichols in the final, dominated them. They finished the season 30-3. Will Wade is going dancing. They'll probably be a 12 seed is what I'm expecting. Maybe squeeze into a 13 seed, but I'm guessing they'll be a 12 seed. In the Patriot League, as it is every year, Colgate wins the championship, beats Lehigh. They finish the year 25-9. They'll be a 14 or 15 seed, always a scary team. And in the Big Sky, the last one we're going to talk about, Montana State beat Montana as the underdog, finished the season 17-17, just 500. They'll be a 16 seed. They'll probably be a playing game as well. Good stuff there. Those are all the qualifiers that we haven't talked about yet. Remember, we talked earlier in the week. We discussed all the other ones, Drake and all those automatic qualifiers. But let's move into some of the bubbles that were popped this week. Starting with Villanova. Villanova, they snuck by DePaul, I guess you can say. Barely took them down, and then they lost to Marquette in overtime without Tyler Kolek. So that ended up being probably being the game that isn't going to get them in the tournament. Their final record ended up being 18-15, which is just, I mean, you can't be in, especially with the losses that they've suffered. So I think Villanova's bubble has officially popped. They're not going to be in March. And then Wake Forest. Wake Forest beat Notre Dame in the first round of the ACC tournament, then lost to Pitt. Pitt moved on to take on North Carolina. Couldn't get the job done there, but Wake Forest, I don't think they're probably going to be next four out, maybe the last team in the first four out when it comes out tomorrow. Kansas State, I think, is officially done now. They had a great win over Texas in the Big 12 tournament, which kind of got them back on the map, but then just Iowa State, too much for them to handle. Iowa State beat them by 19. Kansas State, I think they are done. Cincinnati also kind of got back on people's radar by they beat West Virginia in the first round, actually had a huge comeback to beat West Virginia. Then they beat Kansas by 20, just killed them. It was Kansas without McCullough and Dickinson, and then Baylor just beat up on Cincinnati. They beat them by 12. So I think that's it for Cincinnati. I think that was. I mean, obviously, a lot of these teams will probably be in the NIT, but yeah, that's not what we're here to talk about. And then Iowa got beat by Ohio State in the first round. They're done. They're not going to be in. Then Ohio State's our next team we want to talk about. They had it. They had a chance. They beat Iowa, as mentioned, and then they were beating Illinois most of the game and then ended up losing by 3. Got the Ohio State shirt on today. Show support. Good for Jake DeBoer. They had a great season after they fired Holtman. This is only their second loss since they fired Holtman. So it's there's positives there. Hopefully they get in the NIT this year. Then UNLV got beat in overtime by San Diego State. Now UNLV was one of those teams where they weren't really on the bubble, but if depends how much the committee uses recency bias, they were playing just about as good as anyone. Not going to matter anymore. San Diego State took them down. Utah, I've been saying for a while, should be out of the tournament, and I think they officially are as of now, as they got drilled by Colorado as kind of expected. They finished the season 19-14. That's just not good enough. And then Ole Miss got beat by Texas A&M to end their dreams of an at-large hope. And then we are going to talk about Pitt. These next two teams are potentially bubble poppers. I would lean that they're out more than they're in. I'm not saying they should be out. I'm just saying probably are out. Pitt, we mentioned they beat Wake Forest, but they did lose to North Carolina. I don't know if it's going to be enough to get in. Pitt is 22-11. They're 41st at KenPom. They're a pretty solid team. They'd be a scary team if they get in March. The best they'll be able to do is first 4 if they got in. They needed to beat North Carolina to probably 100% be in the field, but it's going to be close. I would lean no. I hope they get in, but I would lean no. Same goes with Providence. I don't think Providence. I've been seeing people are 50-50 on whether Providence is going to get in. I've been seeing a lot of people saying yes, a lot of people saying no. They beat Creighton. If they didn't beat Creighton, they weren't going to be in. They did beat Creighton, which got them back on the map. Then they lost to Marquette last night. They finished the year 21-13. Their predictives are not good. 53 at KenPom. They might be in the 60s in the net. I can't quite remember. It's not good, whatever it is. I would lean they're out, but it's close. It's really, really close. We'll see. We'll see if they have any hope. But let's talk more positive. Let's talk about some bubble winners. New Mexico, they played themselves. I'm pretty sure they're going to be in the tournament. They beat Air Force first round, no surprise there. Then they beat Boise State and Colorado State, 2 quad 1 games that should get them. That should get them in the tournament. I fully expect to see New Mexico at worst in Dayton. They're 25th in KenPom. I think 23rd in the net. So I don't think they're going to be left out. And then maybe the most surprising one, Texas A&M. Great stuff from Texas A&M to get back in the conversation. We mentioned they beat Ole Miss. They beat Kentucky last night, which I think is going to be enough to at least get them to Dayton. Maybe even get them a bye. They're now 20-13. They've won 5 in a row, and they were 5 solid teams. Remember, they lost 5 in a row. Now, after that, they've won 5 in a row. So they're over Georgia, Mississippi State, Ole Miss again, and then Kentucky. I think they're going to be fine. They get Florida tonight. We'll talk about that here in a second. And then St. John's beat Seton Hall in their first game of the Big East tournament. I think it's good enough for St. John's to get in. I think like a lot of these teams, Dayton at worst. So we'll see. They're probably they might even have a bye right now. It's close. Now we didn't mention Seton Hall because I think Seton Hall is the most 50-50 team on here. Last team in, first team out. We'll see. So no bubbles popped. Didn't do anything to improve their status though with that loss over St. John's. So we'll see. Now let's move in. That's it for our bubble watch. Let's move into some of the one seeds to lose. We mentioned it's been a trend. Tennessee got beat. They got rolled by Mississippi State. Wasn't even close. Arizona got beat last night. They led by 10 at the half and got beat by Oregon. Oregon, big win there. Toledo got beat by Kent State. Toledo, oh, I thought it was Toledo this year. They haven't been in the tournament in so long. It's been decades. I thought this was going to be the year. No, didn't happen. Got beat by Kent State. And then Richmond got beat by St. Joe's. UC Irvine got beat last night by who'd they just get beat by? They got beat by why is it blanking me? Oh, Long Beach State. Long Beach State beat UC Irvine. Quinnipiac fell to St. Peter's. And then Sam Houston fell to UTEP. So a lot of the one seeds taking a fall there. It's going to be interesting. As we mentioned, I mean, this surely takes Tennessee off the one line. It puts North Carolina back in the one line. Arizona keeps losing games that they shouldn't lose. Toledo, it's Akron or Kent State now, so it's just going to affect seed line. Like Richmond was going to be a 12 seed. Dayton also lost, so that's going to be a bid stealer for the A10. Um, It's interesting. It's interesting. UC Irvine was probably going to be a 13, so you're going to see some of these worst record teams probably moving up. Maybe Samford moves into a 12, something like that. But we'll see. Now, a lot of these losses have been leading to coaches being fired. Let's talk about some of the notable power conference ones that have already been gone. Now, obviously, Chris Holtmann and Stubblefield already fired from Holtmann from Ohio State, Stubblefield from DePaul. Holtmann replaces Stubblefield at DePaul. They already announced that Chris Holtmann is the new head coach at DePaul. Louisville fired Kenny Payne. It's about time. It should have happened a while ago. Maybe the worst Power 5 coach we've ever seen. Probably. Just horrific stuff. Glad they're moving on. Louisville's one of those teams where if they get the right coach in there, they have all the NIL money in the world. You could see them in March Madness next year for all we know. I mean, Kenny Payne, just terrible job there. Another terrible job was Juwan Howard at Michigan. He officially got fired. It's about time. He was atrocious, 8-24 this year. It's Michigan. You can't do that. Awful. Oklahoma State fired Mike Boynton. Yeah, I didn't really see this one coming. I mean, I did, I guess, but yeah, I thought they got better this year. Vanderbilt fired Jerry Stackhouse. Interesting stuff there. Washington fired Mike Hopkins. Stanford fired Jared Haas. So a lot of stuff going on. Expect to see a lot more coming up. Maybe the next one we just want to mention real quick. Maybe Penny Hardaway. For those who don't know, Memphis got beat by Wichita State, and this is not a good Wichita State team by any means. Memphis is not going to be in March this year after being number 10 in the AP poll at one point. Horrible job this year by Penny Hardaway. Maybe he gets fired, maybe not because his name's Penny Hardaway. We'll see. All right, let's get into some of the games to watch for Saturday and Sunday. Now we're going to go through all of the games on Saturday that will include bids being punched, and it starts at 11 a.m. UMass Lowell in Vermont. UMass Lowell is the 2 seed. Vermont is the 1 seed in the American East. It's been Vermont forever. We'll see if Vermont can get it done. Nice that it's at 11 a.m. Get to turn on the TV all day. A semifinal game, Wisconsin takes on Purdue. Purdue is favored by 6.5, and Wisconsin playing better as of late. They beat Maryland by 1 million. Then they beat Northwestern last night. So Wisconsin's starting to figure things out. Purdue beat Michigan State yesterday in a close game, but good stuff. In the MEAC final, Delaware State, the 6 seed, versus Howard, the 4 seed. Game's at 1 o'clock on ESPN2. Howard is favored by 3, probably playing for a 16 seed, 100%. By the way, that Wisconsin-Purdue game is at 1 o'clock on CBS. Think I forgot to mention that. Moving into the SEC semifinals, Mississippi State and number 12 Auburn, the 4 seed. Mississippi State is the 9 seed. Auburn's favored by 7.5. This game's at 1 o'clock on ESPN. Auburn just beat South Carolina by 1 million. Mississippi State beat Tennessee. So So that'll be interesting. In the SEC semifinals as well is the 7 seed Texas A&M versus the 6 seed Florida at 3:30 on ESPN. Florida favored by 3. Florida just beat Alabama. Texas A&M just beat Kentucky. 2 huge wins there for these programs. That's why we're in the SEC. We got a 4 seed, 6 seed, 7 seed, and 9 seed in the semifinals. Pretty cool stuff there. Kind of just shows what the SEC has been this year. The other Big Ten semifinal game is at 3:30 on CBS. It is the 3 seed Nebraska taking on the 2 seed Illinois. Illinois is favored by 4.5 in that one. Nebraska just picked up a dominating win over Indiana. Illinois, as we mentioned, beat Ohio State, so that'll be a fun game to watch. Then the Mountain West final, the 6 seed versus the 5 seed New Mexico and San Diego State. This game's at 6 o'clock on CBS. San Diego State, 5 seed, favored by 2. Probably the 2 most talented teams in the Mountain West, I would say. Probably if you were to pick this in the middle of January, you would have said, yeah, probably New Mexico and San Diego State in the final. It is. So things kind of played out there interesting. Then in the Big 12 final, this will be the best game you can watch tonight. It is at 6 o'clock on ESPN. The 2 seed, the number 7 team in the nation, Iowa State, taking on the 1 seed, the number 1 team in the nation, Houston. Battle of the 2 best defenses via KenPom. This game is on ESPN. Houston is favored by 5. 6 o'clock, check that one out. That'll be an incredible matchup. That's the best matchup we have, but I can hear any argument for saying this one's just as good. The Big East final, Marquette and UConn, as it should be every year, it seems. Marquette is the 3 seed. Creighton got beat by Providence, as we mentioned. Marquette the 3 seed, UConn the 1 seed. UConn favored by 9. That's a big number, but remember, no Tyler Collier for Marquette. Very impressive for Marquette to make the championship without last year's Big East Player of the Year. So check that one out. That's at 6:30 on Fox. Then the MAC final, Kent State, we mentioned, they beat Toledo. Akron Kent State beat Toledo and then beat Bowling Green last night. And then Akron beat OU last night to Ohio University, that is, not Oklahoma, to advance to the finals. This is a rivalry game separated by about 10, 15 minutes are their campuses. That'll be fun. This game's at Rocket Mortgage at 7:30 on ESPN2. The MAAC finals, the Peacocks, St. Peter's versus Fairfield at 7:30 on ESPNU. Excuse me. St. Peter's is the 5 seed. Fairfield is the 2 seed. Fairfield is favored by 3. That'll be a fun game to watch. Probably playing for a 15, 16 seed, probably 16 seed. Conference USA final. The 5 seed UTEP takes on the 2 seed Western Kentucky. Western Kentucky favored by 4. This game's at 8:30 on the CBS Sports Network. The ACC final, the Battle of North Carolina. North Carolina State and number 4 North Carolina. North Carolina State is the 10 seed in this tournament. North Carolina is the 1 seed, obviously. North Carolina's favored by 9. This game's at 8:30 on ESPN. This is another game to watch because North Carolina State could be a bid stealer in this one and remove another bubble team if they were to get that automatic qualifying bid. They've beaten teams that they shouldn't be beaten. They beat Virginia. They beat Duke earlier. They're winning everything. Good for them. North Carolina State playing really well. DJ Burns is much watched TV, so check that out. 8:30 on ESPN. The Pac-12 final is at 9 o'clock on Fox. It is the 4 seed Oregon who beat Arizona last night, taking on the 3 seed Colorado. Colorado's favored by 2.5. Colorado playing great. They're a lock. They're going to be in March this year, and they are scary. Let me tell you, they're playing good right now. They are a scary team to face. They're favored in this game. Another bid thief scenario. Colorado's going to be in if they lose. Doesn't really matter. Oregon, if Oregon wins, that's another bubble team. Oregon and NC State both win tonight. That's 2 bubble teams that were last 4 in that are now kicked out. So that's something to watch for. The Big West final, Long Beach State, the 4 seed, taking on the 2 seed UC Davis. UC Davis favored by 1.5. This game's at 9:30 on ESPN2. Long Beach State just beat UC Irvine last night. I think they get the job done again tonight. We'll see. The SWAC final is the 3 seed Texas Southern actually being favored by 2 over the 1 seed Grambling. This game's at 9:30 on ESPNU, playing for a 16 seed without a doubt. The SWAC is pretty weak, but that's still a fun match. Texas Southern always does great in the SWAC tournament. Grambling has had a great year all year. That'll be a fun watch. And then from the SWAC to the WAC, the 3 seed UT Arlington takes on the 1 seed Grand Canyon. Grand Canyon kind of escaped Seattle last night. Grand Canyon is favored by 6. That game's at 11:30, so stay up late on ESPN2. That'll be a 12 seed if Grand Canyon can get that job done. So rooting for them. We'll see. We'll see. Love to see the best teams get in there. That's all the games for Saturday night. A lot of conference championships, couple semifinal games. Semifinal games we're going to talk about just here real quick because their championship games will be on Sunday, previewing Selection Sunday. The first game at 12 o'clock is the Ivy League championship, which will be the winner of Princeton and Brown. I expect it to be Princeton versus the winner of Yale and Cornell. That'll be a fun game. That game's also going on tonight. That's at 12 o'clock on ESPN2. Then the A10 championship will be at 1 o'clock on CBS. We mentioned Dayton and Richmond both eliminated. VCU, Loyola Chicago also got eliminated. They were the 2 seed, actually. So something to note there. It was weird stuff in the A10. The top 4 seeds all lost in the quarterfinals. UMass was the 4 seed. They also lost. So right now, the best seeded team is actually VCU. VCU, they've been playing great as of late. They hang with Dayton every time. So that's also another scenario where that's going to be a bid thief because Dayton's going to be in, and it's not going to be Dayton winning this. So that's going to eliminate another bubble team. Bubble teams that this is why you don't want to be on the bubble. But still alive is VCU, St. Bonaventure, Duquesne, and one more team that is blanking on me. I can't remember. I'm sorry if they went. Oh, St. Joe's. St. Joe's is still alive. So any of those 4 teams, I'd say it's 25% for all of them. They're all about the same. So A10, that'll be fun to watch. Then the SEC tournament final, we mentioned some of those seeds. It'll be the winner of Texas A&M, Florida, taking on the winner of Mississippi State and Auburn. So that's always fun. And then the AAC American, hopefully it's Florida Atlantic getting in there. Florida Atlantic took down North Texas yesterday. That's definitely a game I would watch if Florida Atlantic is in there. Then the Big Ten tournament final is the last one. It's the last one every year at 3:30 on CBS. Winner of Purdue and Wisconsin taking on the winner of Illinois and Nebraska. That'll without a doubt be a fun game there. Let me take a look real quick on is Florida Atlantic did they already clinch the championship game? I think they did. No, they take on Temple tonight, and then who's on the other side? I can't remember. Hopefully Florida Atlantic gets it done and can move on. So yeah, only watch that game if Florida Atlantic's in there. I'm going to be honest, because if Temple is in the final, it would be an ugly game. Fully expect it to be Florida Atlantic. Hopefully it is, but we'll see. Crazier things have happened. That's it. We're only about at the 23-minute mark. We said it's going to be quick. We don't want to get into stuff that we don't really need to get into. We don't need to get into every game. Just some of the big events that's happened. 1 seeds losing, bubble teams popping their bubbles, teams you won't see, teams you will see. So it's exciting. It's almost here. Tomorrow, 6 o'clock, Selection Sunday. It's going to be fun. Check out the games tonight. Check out the games before that. Follow us on Instagram. Follow us on Twitter. We have been posting so much on there. That's at Bracket Science with 2 S's. Also on TikTok as well, by the way. Bracket Science, 2 S's all throughout, just like our YouTube is. Bracket Science, 2 S's. It's all over the place. Please go check that out. Smash the subscribe button before you leave, or follow us if it's on audio. Leave a review. Leave some comments. Let us know what you're thinking, who you're rooting for, who you think it's going to be. You don't think FAU is going to win? Call me out on it. That's fine. I love just discussing college basketball with everyone we can. That's it. Everyone have a great rest of their week. Enjoy the selection show. We'll be back Sunday night for you'll be able to hear it Monday. We're going to talk about every single game in the bracket. It's going to be a marathon. We're going to talk about the players you need to know, the games you need to know, who might be on upset watch. It's going to be our marathon show, so keep that in mind. Again, hit those notifications. You're going to want to know. You want to beat your friends in that bracket. You'll want to get there. We'll get there. Take care. Have a great rest of their weekend. See you later.